Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects from start to finish with easy to follow guides. And last week I came on and I created this fun version of the artwork for Cardstock Carnival. And I promised I would come back and make a companion page. So I'm going to put you down on my desk and we're going to do that today. So let me just add in my desk. Okay, so first things first. So last week I said I had a different idea for the other side. So I actually tried it and I didn't like the way it looked. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to mirror image this layout on the other side. So if you didn't see me assemble it, this will be like a good little how-to. If you watched, it'll be kind of like a fun little refresher. And I'm actually going to, at the end, create a card with the same concept using kind of the same idea. But obviously in a card form. It's going to be a slimline card. So make sure to stay till the end if you want to see how I adapt this. So if you hadn't actually seen the original, the artwork, mine's slightly different. Of course, it's just a little bit more me. I played with some different things. I kept the color scheme the same. I changed up a few things and obviously made my own measurements, my own photograph, added in kind of those fun little things. I swapped it out. They had done stamping and I used thin cuts to create my letters. So we're going to make another page. I'm going to add more photographs onto the other side, like I said, and then I'm going to do a card. So just give me 1 second here, make sure everything is going properly, and then I'll get started. So the only thing I did do beforehand was I obviously cut all my pieces so that I would know where to start. And I've drawn my line across my page. I've got my photographs and everything ready to go. So for whoever didn't watch last week, I will give you some rough measurements as we go. But I am going to, once I have both the layouts finished and ready to go, I will add a sketch onto my website. So the background is sapphire, and I did also do my splattering beforehand on my sapphire to give it a few more minutes to dry. This time we're going to do some splattering once I've added the rainbow onto the layout anyway. So the base is 11 by 11, and I've taken my quilting ruler and I have this super long quilting ruler that is lots of inches. 12, it's like 24 inches long. So any time I have to do like a diagonal where like you need something to go all the way across a layout. Oh, thank you very much. All the way across like a double page spread or something. This comes in super handy. They're not very expensive, but it's also great for drawing a diagonal. Close to my heart obviously has like our T rulers, but you can't get a diagonal from one end to the other. Even if you pull off the end, you're just kind of short. Versus this one, you've got tons of extra room and you can actually see what you're doing. So I did draw my line with my pencil beforehand. So because I decided to do just the mirror image, I wanted to speed up some of the process so that you didn't have to watch everything all over again. But I'll just kind of quickly assemble it. And like I said, we're doing the mirror image. So I want, it'll go like this. So what I need my green stripe, right? My clover stripe to go across here. So I'm going to just line it up exactly the same way I did with the first layout. Every once in a while, I'll bring the left-hand page back in so that we can check how we are doing here. But as you can see, I have all my pieces cut. I'll just move my photos out of the way. Okay, so this was a total time saver, so I was just gonna go over it one more time, what I did. So I actually adhered the two pieces together. One of the fun things about Close to My Heart's cardstock, right, is that it is two tones. There's a true side, which is this darker side, and then the light side. So I pre-cut my pieces and adhered them together before I started. So now I just have to literally pull my pieces out of my pile and get to work. So I did cut them all at 3/4 of an inch by 12, and then the skinny piece, which is the true side, is just 1/4 of an inch. So we are going to start with the clover, and it's also kind of like a cheater. So I'm going to cut it in half so that it can spread across the 11 by 11 surface. It's going to get covered up in the middle. Like I said, I created a grid of photographs that will sit in the middle. So any opening that's in the middle will get covered up. Oh, I've got a funny little punch out. And then we're going to use the embellishments that are left over from last week to also decorate it. So part of that cardstock special is these UV sheets that have all different shapes. So there's like fun icons, the frames. So when I did the left-hand page, I cut them out because I knew I wanted to use the rest on the right-hand page. So we'll mimic that same thing on the right-hand page. So I'm going to start though with my clover. Grab some tape runner, adhesive, and I'm just going to, like I said, I did 12-inch lengths, so I'm just going to roughly cut this in half. And I lined up the corner right here, so in between the true color and the lighter side, right up to my corner right here. So we are just going to do that. So, and the pencil line also allows me to get it straight over here, right? So there we go. And I'm intentionally leaving a little bit hanging off. I'm going to flip it over and trim it out after. It's just easier to trim it off from the back side. So, and then right there, you can see now I'm lined up. So I'm just going to put my strips up top. So I'll actually really quickly go over the colors. So I have candy apple, nectarine, then Sundance, and lemonade, and then green apple, and clover. Sorry, I put that one down already. Clover, and then we have lagoon, glacier, grape, raspberry, and then flamingo. And like I said, the reasons I picked them was because they all coordinate with the UV adhesive, the UV embellishment sheets too. So now you can see when I bring this back over, this is going to line up once we trim it off. So this also then reminds me that we're going up, right? So we're going to do lagoon next and then glacier. So same thing, I need to cut those because I still think that that's not quite enough, but. And so this is a great way, like a great layup to use up anything out of your stash. If you had even discontinued colors, or if you stocked up during Cardstock Carnival. There's like an awesome bundle that, okay, I'm just going to make sure, right? that I'm gonna, and see, good thing I checked, because look at that, my clover is upside down. So we are going to quickly flip it. See, as I was talking about making sure everything was mirrored, I was not. So that's why every once in a while you want to bring in your other page. Okay, so there we go. I'm just right off the edge of the layout so I can trim it. Okay, and now we'll just double check that we are better. Okay, so now my lagoon piece will go just like that. So I'm hanging off the end there. And the nice thing is, like, everything, just because I've adhered the small piece to this piece, I found it much easier to line everything up. So you can see here, my glacier is still not quite long enough. So I'm going to trim this one also. If you wanted, you could obviously add in another piece. But like I said, I knew everything was going to get covered up anyway. So there we go. So now you can see how it's going to come together. Right? So now I'm at grape. And when we get to the grape, we have just enough. If you are worried, you could still trim in the middle. I'm just gonna trim it one more time in the middle, just so that I get enough of an overhang that I can trim it easily. But you'll see it's very close. So now when I do the raspberry, I should have lots of length. So, and there we go. So then I have raspberry and I have flamingo. Okay, so now we're going to go the opposite way, and I'll fill in the bottom section, and obviously we don't have enough here, so I'm just going to trim the green apple in half. So I decided the concept that I was thinking of using for this layout, that I didn't actually like it once I had them lined up together, I'm going to use on a different layout because it was a really cute idea. But I just, with the diagonal stripe, I felt like it was so distinctive. Like it was like very harsh lines. So to change the direction of the lines became super obvious. Okay, so now we're going to do lemonade, and we're still not quite far enough. So here we go. This would, like I said, look awesome. Oh, you're very welcome. So this would look awesome too in like ombre colors, or like even just picking a color scheme from one of the paper packs or a collection, right? For something to go with it. Because you could use even pattern paper to create this exact same layout. Okay, so now we have the Sundance, and we have enough with an overhang. So then next I'm gonna quickly add my white gloss spray because it does take a few seconds to dry. So then I have Nectarine. And then my Candy Apple. And I'll just, after I splatter, I will trim off the back. Like, how fun is that? Even just like that, I love the look of this one. Okay, so I'm just gonna push them down on the back side so that I know everything is adhered. And then from the back side, I am going to trim off the excess. So because there's a nice contrast, it is very easy to see with the white where you need to trim. And then also you can see here I need add a little bit more adhesive. So like I said, it would be fun to even, you know how Close to My Heart has the little circles in the idea books with like the coordinating colors and stuff. You could pick a combination that you know that you like and just play with those colors. So I always do find it easier to go from the corner down, but it is probably personal preference, really. And I'm just holding the strips from the back side, just in case I didn't get adhesive all the way to the end. But so now you have like a nice clean edge. So same thing, I'll go from the corner here down. Okay, and then a last side. Okie dokie. Oh, sorry about that. Camera does not like when there's too much white. Okay, so now we have our base ready to go. I'm just going to pick up these little pieces because some of them do have adhesive still on them, and I will get them stuck to everything. You could save the ones that are big enough to use on other projects. Okay, so I'm going to grab my all-purpose mat and put this down. And then, so I did already the sapphire background. I just went around the edges with the gloss spray. And I like to be in control of where the gloss spray is going. You can use your spray cap. I very rarely do that. I just like the look of the splatter more than the condensed spray, but you could do whatever you would like. And so I'm just tapping the nozzle and then It's just adding another layer down onto the layout. You could also use your white gel pen if you wanted to add more dots if you didn't have enough dots, or you wanted some ones that are very symmetrical. So this just brings in the white acrylic pieces that we add at the very end, right? So it just brings the white into the rainbow colors. Okay, so I'm going to put that up here. I'm just going to wipe where I shot over my all-purpose mat there, because, you know, that's me. Okay, so this we're just going to give a second to dry. So I have my background. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I decided what to do on the other side. So this is a funny measurement, but so I knew I wanted more photographs on this side. And so I had another 3 photographs from this event. This was Mother's Day 2019. So we had Mother's Day at a park because we weren't allowed to gather, and so it was outside. So I wanted enough room to be able to tell that story because it was super bizarre. So I have a 4x4 and then 2 4x3s and then a journaling block that's 4x4. And so, but I wanted it to mirror this shape. So I didn't go for something square. Good morning. I bet that's gay. I didn't want something square because I have like a rectangle shape over here. And so I wanted to mirror that on this side. So I did the same thing. So I quite often always have a little bit of a white border on my photograph. 1 second. So like I said, these are 2 3x4s, and then these measure 4x4 with the border. And then I have a white daisy piece, and this measures, I'm pretty sure, 8 3/4 by 7 3/4, which then makes the outer part 9 by 8. Because if I went any bigger than that, I actually contemplated adding, because there's another set of layers here, I contemplated adding another white layer and then the sapphire layer, but then it literally takes up too much of my layout. You can already see here, this is kind of enough that you can still see the pattern, the outside, but once it all gets added down, the two of them go really well together. So both sides kind of suit each other. They've got the same kind of shapes going on. So let's put this together and then we can have some fun and embellish it. So like I said, I will do a sketch once. I just wanted to make sure that this was the final configuration I was going to use for the layout before I put a sketch together, but I will do that, and that'll be, you guys will see that sometime up in May. Okay, so let's add adhesive to my 11 by 11, and I just need to make sure I put it in the right direction so we don't have that same problem. So I'm just going to, so I know this is 11 by 11, right? So I have a 1/2 inch border all the way around. There we go. And then now I can add my photo block, and then we get to have some fun and pull in. That one is done. The extra pieces. Okay, so I think we're done with the ruler. Okay, so now these are the extra frames. It is so, like, I don't think that you could help but smile looking at this layout. So these are the extra halves of the frames. So we're going to tuck them in, but on that sheet, so I'll just show you So the embellishment sheets have all of these fun little icons on them, right? There's buttons and balloons and speech bubbles and little camera, butterflies, hexagons. And so they have that fun UV coating on the front, and then they're just plain on the back. So I punched out, like I said, the little frames we used on the other side. So I'm going to pull the other halves in, but I have this cute little camera that I'm going to add right here. And then I punched out some stars because that's what we had on the other side. So first, I know for sure because I drew the lines for my journaling box. So I knew I had quite a long story to tell. So I knew I wanted to just make my own journaling box there, and I could make it whatever size I wanted. And I knew that I wanted my camera icon to fit in here. So I kind of just roughly measured where that was going to be. And then I'll put something up here about, like, it in particular about it being Mother's Day. So now you can see too, I want to be able to kind of balance the frames. So here is what I have left, right? So like I said, I cut them off. So I want them to kind of mirror the other side. So here's my green apple. So I'm just going to kind of lay them where I want them. So, right, my candy apple is there. So I'm going to put this one over here. And then I have my nectarine and Sundance. Across the bottom. And then lemonade. I have just this tiny piece of lemonade. So I want it so that it overlaps something else, so that you can, so that it almost like looks like it's still complete, but it's not really there. So then I have grape and raspberry. This one and this one. Okay, I seem to be missing two of my frames. That's interesting. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I have Lagoon here. And Clover at the top. Okay. So now I'm just going to tuck them in, kind of, now that I have them kind of where I want them. I'll bring this over here. And then I pulled out some more stars, and then I have some more of the acrylic pieces. So I think I will just add glue because it'll give me a little bit of wiggle room. So, and then this is my farthest away one. Like I said, this would be fun to do like with school colors. There's so many possibilities for different things that you could actually do with this layout. Not just the fact that it also really highlights the fun cardstock. And I like the fact that I was able to cut the frames and be able to spread them over two different two different pages. So like really there's not many supplies, right? There is hardly anything that I used other than some cardstock, the little embellishments, some acrylic pieces, right? And actually I had to dig into my stash looking for white acrylic pieces, but I think I got more than enough to fill in the spots. Okay, so for this one, because I have that funny corner, I'm going to do this one first. And then I know where to add that nectarine one over top of it. And the fun part is because of the UV coating, right? Even though there's the same colors underneath, you still, it's like adding a different kind of texture, right? You can still see all of the embellishments on there. So now I'm just making sure to just tuck this one under enough that you can't actually tell that there's a piece missing there. So this is the Sundance one. There we go. Okay, so now you can see them side by side, right? So I carried both elements over, and so I think it's because the angle is so dramatic, that full diagonal across. Let me just make myself a little bit smaller here. That when I try to create a different shape on the other side, I think that's why I didn't like it, because it is so dramatic of an angle. But you could totally switch it up if you prefer. So now, like I said, so I'm going to add the stars in now, and then the little white acrylics I did last. So, and I did with the bigger stars, add them on 3D foam. So I have some little dots here to make it easier. So, but I'm going to flip this. So this, no, I'll show you actually, because I did keep it out because I used it also for the card. So I'm going to make a congratulations card, and we're going to use the same theme. So I used this one, but this is actually the font that I used for, but it's the small letters. So it's the Simple Sheriff thin cut, but obviously you could use anything. And I did use all little lower letters for this one instead of stamping. But there's tons of like alpha stamps that would be perfect and look very simple. Well, for example, there is a stamp set to go with this thin cut that's the same, but there are other ones that have that same kind of appearance. Okay, so I need to have them going in the right direction so that I know what I'm doing here. Okay, so I am going to, here we go. So these little ones, I think I just glued them down, like all the small ones. So, but I have a big raspberry here. You could totally use your Cricut too, though, to cut the letters. I love these little guys, the little cross stars. They're very fun. Oh, and I did use some shapes from the black and white dots, so I might have to grab some of those too. So then we're going to go down here with grape. And I'm not doing them the same. I'm just kind of deciding how they look, how they complement each other. And you have so many. I know, color is so fun. Like I said, too, you could switch the color combinations to match people's outfits. Like, there are literally so many possibilities. Okay, so with all my lights on, sometimes it's hard to tell which side has the UV coating on it. So now I have a glacier one, and I'm going to do just a little lagoon one. You could also, instead of the white, if you prefer, like if you like the look more of the black, you could swap out all your sapphire and do black accents too. as a more of a contrast. That would be very striking. I wanted to keep some things the same. Good morning. I wanted to keep some things the same and change some things out from the original. So okay, I'm going to leave this here like this for right now until we add some white in here, and then I will decide if I need more. So now I'm going to add at the top and down the side. So like I said, the big stars, most of them I did pop up with 3D foam just because it added a nice extra layer there. And some of them are on the same color, some of them are not. It kind of just depends. And I'm kind of adding the big stars in first because obviously that's the largest embellishment. So right here, I've got the nectarine over top of the nectarine and the Sundance. And then clover. I love green apple as a green color. I like all the brights. I have a harder time with like more of those pastel-y colors. So the brights are right in my wheelhouse here. So I'm gonna add a lemonade. See, and that one I just put on the UV side. Okay. So now I can add in almost just like some cascading stars, really. Okay. And I still have more stars even than are on here. So it goes a long way. Those little embellishment sheets go a long way. Like you'll be able to add them to all sorts of different things. Okay, so I am going to stop with the colors. Oh no, I want another red down here for sure. I'm going to add some of the white in now and then we'll see how we're doing here. Yikes. Okay, so these I like to do with glue dots. So, and same thing, I'm going to put some big ones in first. And then the smaller ones. So I have like 3 big ones that I could find. And then some little ones. Okay. There we go. I think we're going to call that one done. So here they are together, side by side. So I think it turned out super cute. So I'm going to take some photos and I will add the photos. And then, like I said, you will see the sketch in May at some point here. But so I wanted to show you, I'm going to take the same idea and make a super quick card here. So I'm going to leave this right here. And so I have a slimline card base. I have same thing, right? I have my pieces pre-cut, so 3/4 of an inch and then 1/4 of an inch. And I've just adhered it to the side. I actually think that from these pieces, I would have enough to do a slimline and a A2 size card. So then I took that same font and I cut out congrats in kind of the rainbow colors, right? And I have a little graduation cap because I need this for something. So that's what we're going to do. And then this star is cut out of lemonade with the star shaker thin cuts, but I didn't make it a shaker. I just adhered the 2 pieces together. So this is kind of what I'm thinking we're going to do here. So I need to, though, do my white gloss spray first. So I'm just going to move my layout. And then we can set it aside to dry while I add the stripes across the card base. So you can hear in here too, right? My white gloss spray has that little ball so that you know that you're getting it shaken up well. So same thing. I just really need it around the outside to mimic that same thing, but this is a much smaller piece, so it's going to go over a lot more of the cardstock. It doesn't matter, I'll be covering it up, and if you want some dots in specific spots, you can always touch down the end of your dropper because you want it to look like they're not all the same. Just going to pop the air bubbles there. Okay, so we're going to set this aside to dry. Well, and then I pulled out from those UV sheets these little streamers. I thought they might be cute on the card. So I just need to find another. I just did like a full circle there trying to find somewhere to put that down. Okay, I'm just going to move myself back into the other corner now. Okay, so this is 3 1/4 by 8 1/4, but I'm going to show you. So I'm going to do the same idea, but because I know my lemonade is going to be sitting over here, I don't want all my yellow colors on this side. I want it to stand out, right? So it's going to look something like this. Something like that. So I don't want all my yellow behind the lemonade. So, right, I'm going to start with the pink on the top here and work my way across. So we're just going to kind of go in like reverse order. So, and like I said, I think that I would have enough to do this and a A2 size card. And this time I'm just going to add the adhesive to my card base, and then I'm going to add my strips. And if I have to, right, I could totally do another set, or you could leave also part of it white, right? So so whatever direction I decide to do my stripes, I'm going to, like my true side, I'm going to make them all the same. So now I'll do raspberry, and then grape, and then I'm going to go glacier, and then lagoon, and then we'll go clover, and green apple, so if you guys are watching live or on the replay and have any questions, make sure to ask. I'm happy to answer. So after green apple, we'll do the lemonade. And I think that that's far enough away that it will not be an issue. And then our Sundance and candy apple. Okay, and I'm just going to reset over here with the flamingo. So same thing, right? I push them down. I'm going to push them down from this side. And then I'm going to trim them out from the back side. So starting at one corner. And going across. Okay, so then I'm just going to fill in, and actually I have enough of the piece that I just actually trimmed off the top to add right here. So I still have lots of extra pieces. Like I could totally do the same thing with these pieces for an A2 size card. So like I still have tons left, right? So there we go. I'll just cover this up, trim it out from behind. There we go. Now, you can see I just have like a 1/4 of an inch margin. This looks slightly crooked there. I just have a little bit of extra here. That's why it looks that way. Okay. There we go. Okay, so then I can add this to my card front. Just like that. Okay, so I have little pieces of paper flying everywhere. This is going to be the star there, and I'm actually going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to trim part of it off, I think, from the bottom and the side, because the star is just slightly larger. But it's still going to read like a star because most of it is there. So there we go. And obviously you could use any sort of sentiment, right? I just used congrats and graduation because that's something I happen to need. So here. I'm just going to slightly tuck this under. Like that. And then I am going to, so I used the black for the grad cap so that you wouldn't see any of the white from the white core when I thin cut it out. So it looks like super black. So I'm going to actually pop this up just on thin 3D foam. And actually, while we're talking about the grad one, I wanted to just say, I always say this, but it might be a while since I've said it. When you're looking at stamps and thin cuts, maybe you don't have a graduation. That's totally fine too. But when you look at this thin cut, this is a perfect thin cut to make a pattern with. So I always say, like, if you're going to invest in a thin cut, look for ones that you could use for other things. So I've done a layout on here before that features a diamond shape, and you could totally use this on a scrapbooking layout to create your background with. So don't forget that it doesn't necessarily just have to be the top of a grad cap, right? There's other things you could do with a shape. So that's just a little. Sometimes it's helpful to look at things a little bit differently. So here we go. And then like I said, I don't know about these. We'll just see. I don't want to add too many, but I thought they kind of went with a graduation-like theme. There we go. That's how I like it. That looks awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to glue these down and then we're all done. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If anybody has any questions about anything, add them to the comments below. I'm happy to answer them. And let's just glue these down. I might have to, I'm going to use glue, so I might have to set something down on top of these for a few seconds until the glue dries. And if you missed it, I did do a whole blog post with last week's layout in it, and I will update it and add, like I said, the second layout in there, and then eventually there will be a sketch too. So if you're interested in more things, make sure to stop by my blog at chrisscreativelife.com. There we go. You know what I think we need is, let's just see. Nope, I'm going to just stop. I think I've decided. I need to just stop. Okay, guys, so that's what I've got for you today. So there's the card. I might add some clear sparkles on it. I'm just not 100% certain yet. But the final photographs will be up on my blog at chrisscreativelife.com. So there is the layout. Now that we've got 2 pages and the card. So I hope you guys have an awesome day. We will talk to you later. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask and we'll talk to you later. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.